back. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Money, get away.
Welcome to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton, and today we're speaking with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group Financial Services. Now, by way of introduction, Jim holds a number of credentials: CFP, CLU, TEP, CDFA, CIWM, and most importantly, 27 years of experience doing this. We're so glad, Jim, to have you here to share some of your expertise with us today. The economic growth over the past 50 years has been absolutely astounding. Fortunes have been made and dynasties built. There's a lot of people in this world with a lot of money right now. And as the baby boomer generation enters retirement, their kids are set to inherit more than any generation in history. Jim, given your 27 years of experience and having built a multi-generational practice, how do you feel today's boomers are different than their parents?
Aside from the wealth that they've accumulated, in my opinion, it has to be about debt. The numbers are substantial. Boomers who are in debt before they retire and carry debt into retirement. For clients I work with, I believe it's essential we have a conversation about their plans to get out of debt, not simply manage it. We can help them integrate it into a complete financial plan.
Clearly, wealth professionals have an integral role to play. In the current climate of market unpredictability and economic uncertainty, the ability to manage financial well-being has never been more critical. So, Jim, before the break, we were talking a little bit about how financial and lifestyle security doesn't simply happen by itself. We wish it would, but it doesn't. So understandably, we can all benefit from working with the right financial planner to help address any blind spots that we might have in our financial picture. The big question often is, where to start?
I've observed that there is more acceptance, more willingness than ever before for Canadian families to speak about money. We work with a lot of parents who express concern about their kids' financial well-being and how they can help them out. The financial literacy or lack of the millennial generation weighs heavily on boomers' retirement and financial plans.
This knowledge must make your job a little bit easier, right? People know that they need to plan.
It certainly does. I think we're seeing progress. Many clients have moved beyond feeling that money discussions are socially awkward, perhaps impolite, or even tacky, to having an implicit understanding that there's nothing more important than understanding where you stand financially.
Making time for these essential conversations is absolutely important, ensuring that you have a confident grasp on what your money is going to do for you and what this financial freedom actually means for your loved ones.
I've noticed more willingness and comfort by parents to share their estate and inheritance plans with their adult children. These are the families that I love to work with. By the way, as these families really benefit from employing a facilitative advisor to help guide the conversations between family members.
So where do you come in?
We start by mapping out current assets and planning how to distribute them. I'm available as an educated sounding board. I like to ask clients, how can you feel confident in your choices if you're not aware of the financial building blocks that form the foundation of these conversations?
So, Jim, how do you address those awkward feelings that people may have about being judged when it comes to talking about the monetary decisions that they've made during their lives? Not everybody made good decisions. And, of course, this applies to both parents and their adult kids.
Sometimes the idiom about spilt milk is quite appropriate. You can't put it back in the glass. We encourage clients to think deeply about the outcome they're looking to achieve and not to reflect too heavily on past decisions. What's done is done. What we can focus on is the future and choices we can make proactively to succeed.
Well, it's all about just basically living in the moment and not worrying about all those past decisions.
You're right. It's not just about investment choice, although I know that there are more than a few people who are going to argue this point with me. Often, it's as much our financial habits as investment performance that determines our financial successes. It's about understanding what you need your money to do for you and then tailoring your plan for the unexpected.
Well, this is a perfect segue into the longevity conversation. People are living longer. More and more we're hearing about how health and wellness is a key part of understanding what exactly your money has to do for you and your loved ones.
It's not just living longer. Many of us are going to face chronic condition. So it's about living longer with diminished health. I believe advisors play a role here by being straightforward regarding people's situations and their options.
So how do you actually help in this capacity, Jim?
In my practice, we're seeing more and more clients bringing their adult children into meetings to help plan.
It's about raising awareness of future challenges, and it sounds like it's a positive sign.
We take the lead from the client. Intergenerational meetings are a hallmark of the way we like to practice, but sometimes we need to encourage them a little. Continuity and consistency is incredibly important as the clients we work with get older.
So time and time again, I've heard you, Jim, underscore how important it is to fully understand the people that you work with and then develop realistic goals to create a successful advisor-client relationship.
It's all about understanding what is important to you and what you need to achieve. To get started, we set some target dates and then we work backwards to create your plan, kind of reverse engineer it. Then we can work out what rate of return you need to achieve your goals.
Well, I liked your earlier comment. It's as much our financial habits as investment performance that determines our financial successes. So instead of chasing markets and taking on unnecessary volatility, the best advice is work with your advisor. Or better yet, you can call Jim. You'll get a second opinion. It's free, 604-682-5431.
I'd like to suggest, if you're serious about your financial situation, you need to be clear about the type of investment advice, the type of advisor relationship, and the fee model that is most likely going to give you what you need.
We've been hearing about a lot of the shifting sands of the financial industry, from new financial technology like robo-advisors to more stringent regulatory scrutiny. Yet many advisors continue to handle their investments the same way they did 20 years ago. So, Jim, let me ask you, this is a tough question. Is it time to challenge the status quo?
It's not just your own money issues that might be concerning you, but I think it's a good question for investors to ask that they work with, whether they should work with a fee-only advisor or maybe a robo-advisor, or whether we should be looking at a quarterback to oversee their entire financial picture, not just your investments.
I think this is a very interesting discussion. Maybe we can look at some of the concerns a little bit closer.
There's a proliferation of low-cost options, and this continues to be tempting. You have to ask, why wouldn't you want a cheaper option? At a base level, I think most investors understand that advisors need to be paid for their services. But the real question, perhaps, that should be asked, what exactly is being delivered?
I think if we had a dozen people here right now, we wouldn't be surprised at the very different answers that we might hear.
Is a robo-advisor or an algorithm a substitute for a human relationship? If you're not engaged in the financial planning process, the real value might come from getting you to come to the table and participate in the planning process. This is your future we're talking about.
Many people struggle to find financial bliss. Sometimes the only behavior you can change is your own. And I'm hoping you've got a few tips to help navigate this delicate subject.
One of the substantial headwinds I face almost every day is helping clients achieve their long-term financial goals in an environment in which some service firms and investors, too, are looking for short-term results. In my opinion, there's perhaps too much emphasis on a performance-driven culture to one that is purpose-driven to ensure a client's long-term goals are met.
So you're suggesting, I think, that the current performance-driven culture focused on short-term results should change to one that's focused on ensuring clients' long-term goals are met.
Never underestimate motivation and purpose when it comes to your money. Once you are crystal clear on the why of your money, purpose-driven motivation represents the greatest potential for performance.
Couldn't agree more. So do you have a couple of very tangible examples for us?
We spoke previously about a recent study on financial advice by the Center for Inter-University Research and Analysis of Organizations that highlighted how an investor working with an advisor for 15 years or more accumulated 290% more in assets.
Absolutely impressive. And I know we mentioned this before, but it seems to me that not enough is made of the importance of hiring an advisor and regularly reviewing your spending habits and monitoring your progress.
Exactly. Prudent selection matters, but I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to spend the time regularly reviewing your financial plan to make sure you don't lose sight of the bigger picture in the face of more tempting financial choices. Remember, the purpose of your money, whether it be legacy, family, or financial security, helps people make better choices.
I'll bet it also helps investors become more knowledgeable over time. You've spoken often to the value of increased financial literacy. At its most basic level, the simple act of having a financial professional help you review your priorities regularly and monitor the progress towards your financial goals can have so much impact. And we're talking about 290% worth of impact.
From the study I mentioned, let's look at the case of savings rate. Those working with an advisor and those not working with an advisor. Canadians with an advisor saved more. Those without an advisor had a savings rate of about 6.7%. And those who worked with an advisor saw their savings rate at about 10.75%.
So what you're telling us is that to be successful financially, you may want to watch your spending, be consistent with your savings habits, and work with an advisor to ensure that you're on track and, of course, monitor your plan regularly.
That's right. How I help people, basically, it's this simple. People have financial issues and they're looking for solutions to their situation. Every week, we meet with clients who share their concerns about making their investments work efficiently for them, are anxious about their kids' financial well-being, or really don't like all the financial responsibilities on their shoulders. We're able to help identify strategies that provide two types of benefits, financial and quality of life benefits, like comfort, peace of mind, confidence, excitement, and fulfillment.
So how can we argue with life-enhancing benefits like comfort, peace of mind, and confidence? Thank you so much, Jim, for this valuable reminder that financial habits, as much as investment performance, can determine your financial successes in life. If you have any questions about your retirement planning choices and you're curious about getting some more advice, I would encourage you to give Jim a call. This is Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton, and today we've been speaking with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. And to learn how Jim can help you, all you have to do, give him a phone call, 604-682-5431, or send him an email if it's easier, jim.doyle@investorsgroup.com. So we're about to tackle boomer retirement preparedness and why we should sweat the small stuff sometimes. Obviously, there's more to consider than you might think. That's all coming up next on Boomer Life on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.